Picture this for a second. It's evening in Qatar.
Okay.
The daytime heat has finally started to break a little bit. And inside the houses and, the high-rises, the kitchens are remarkably quiet. But millions of smartphone screens are lighting up.
Yeah, the evening rush.
Right. And out on the glowing streets of Doha and up through those modern sweeping boulevards of Lusail, there's just an absolute army of delivery riders heading out into the night. We are talking about thousands of moving dots on a digital map, all orchestrating this massive nightly migration of sizzling shawarmas, biryani boxes, and incredibly elaborate sushi platters.
It really is a phenomenal logistical ballet to watch. I mean, and it's not just a weekend treat anymore. That nightly migration, that is the heartbeat of the local economy right now.
And that heartbeat is what we're unpacking for today's deep dive. So we're looking at a snapshot of the tech landscape in Qatar right now, specifically this 10-app ecosystem that has completely, they've cornered the market.
Yeah, they really have.
But our mission today isn't to just read off a list of startups. We want to kind of reverse engineer how a really simple digital convenience, tapping a button to get a burger, has fundamentally reshaped how an entire country eats, how it structures its workday, and even how it designs its cities.
Because in Qatar, with this massive expat community and an incredibly fast-paced, digitally native urban lifestyle, food delivery has transcended mere convenience.
Right.
It is now a critical layer of societal infrastructure. I mean, it's on par with public transportation or utility grids at this point.
Okay, let's unpack this by starting with the most visible piece of that infrastructure. Because if you spend even an hour in Doha, you cannot miss the bright orange delivery bikes belonging to Talabat.
Oh, yeah. They're everywhere.
They're practically woven into the traffic patterns. But beyond the physical footprint, what is truly striking is how deeply entrenched they are in the local vernacular.
Yeah.
Talabat isn't just a service anymore. It has become a total cultural staple.
They've achieved that really rare, elusive linguistic status that every tech founder dreams of.
They became a verb.
Exactly.
Like how we say we're going to Google something or, hand someone a Kleenex. In Qatar, the phrase is just, let's Talabat it.
Yeah.
Whether it's a quick lunch at the office or some massive feast for the extended family on a Friday, when a population starts using a brand name as an action word, they own the mental real estate.
Right, because you aren't even considering the competition at that point. Your brain just defaults to the Orange app.
Exactly.
But, holding on to that mental real estate, it invites fierce, relentless competition. You can't just be the default forever without someone trying to dethrone you.
Sure.
And that brings us to Snoonu, which has managed to carve out a really massive loyal following and earn the title of Qatar's trusted super app.
Okay.
The strategic play here is fascinating because they realized they couldn't just beat Talabat by offering the exact same burgers.
So if everyone is essentially moving a cardboard box from point A to point B, how do you actually differentiate? I mean, what do you do?
Well, you change the perception of the journey itself.
Okay.
So Snoonu leaned heavily into ethical logistics and hyper-localized driver care. Just think about the peak summer months in Qatar.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the heat is punishing. It often crosses 40 degrees Celsius.
Right. It's intense.
So during those peak temperature hours, a user might open Snoonu and see a notification about early morning delivery delays. And the reason behind it is brilliant. They actively swap their delivery fleet from exposed bikes to air-conditioned cars to protect their drivers from the extreme heat.
Wait, mid-shift?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, logistically, that sounds like an absolute nightmare. I mean, managing a massive fleet of bikes is hard enough. Swapping them out for cars, which take up more space on the road, get stuck in traffic, and burn more fuel, that just seems counterintuitive to the whole hyper-optimized, cutthroat gig economy thing we usually hear about.
Oh, from a purely short-term spreadsheet perspective, you are absolutely right. It is a more expensive, slower way to deliver food.
Right.
But you have to look at the long-term mechanics of brand loyalty.
Oh, okay.
In a highly saturated digital market where consumers are, they're increasingly aware of the human cost of the gig economy. So treating your workforce ethically becomes a highly lucrative brand differentiator. Consumers just feel less guilt ordering from a company they believe protects its workers.
Oh, wow. So they're essentially trading a bit of margin and speed for a massive deposit in the consumer trust bank.
Exactly.
And once they have that trust, they can leverage it into high-margin premium services.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that explains the existence of Snoonu Prime.
Yes.
This concept completely blew my mind when I read about it.
Right.
We aren't talking about getting a lukewarm bag of fries dropped at your door.
Yeah.
Snoonu Prime is this exclusive subscription tier experience that delivers literal 5-star fine dining experiences directly to your couch. You can order premium steaks from New Litter's Steakhouse or high-end Asian cuisine from B Lounge.
And it forces us to completely redefine the concept of takeout. Because delivering a delicate high-end steak requires a completely different logistical chain than delivering a pizza.
Yeah, imagine.
The thermal bags need to be better, the routing needs to be way more direct, and the presentation, I mean, it has to remain immaculate upon arrival.
It's fine dining logistics.
Yeah.
But looking at these two titans raises a really glaring question for me.
What's that?
If Talabat has the massive mainstream cultural monopoly, and Snoonu has a lock on the trusted, ethical super app in fine dining space, how on earth did the other 8 apps operating in Qatar even survive? Like, why isn't this just a 2-horse race?
Well, that is the core dilemma of this entire ecosystem, and the solution is ruthless hyper-specialization.
Okay.
If a platform cannot be everything to everyone, it has to become absolutely essential to a very specific, narrow lifestyle.
Which brings a company like Deliveroo into the spotlight. So Deliveroo is a massive global entity, right? Founded back in 2013 with something like 160,000 global partners. When they entered Doha, they strategically targeted the dense corporate hubs, places like West Bay and the Pearl. But the product feature that really caught my eye here is called Deliveroo for Work.
Right.
It's designed specifically for companies to manage team meal plans efficiently. But I have to pause here because something about this feels a little dystopian to me.
Really? How so?
Well, are we just optimizing away the traditional lunch break? The marketing around this suggests it's perfect for days when lunch breaks disappear or when late-night deadlines leave you no time to think.
Yeah.
Are we just building technology to squeeze more productivity out of workers so they never even have to leave their desks?
I see why it feels like an erosion of free time for sure. But let's look at the actual physical mechanics of what Deliveroo for Work is doing to the corporate landscape, because this isn't just about keeping someone chained to a spreadsheet.
Okay.
These apps are quietly stepping in to replace physical corporate infrastructure.
Wait, replace what physical infrastructure? Like the office kitchen?
Exactly like the office kitchen, but on a massive scale. Think about a sprawling corporate campus from 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
A company would have to build massive, really expensive cafeterias into their blueprints. They had to hire catering staff, manage food safety, and subsidize the meals to keep workers fed and on site. Deliveroo for Work acts as a decentralized, cloud-based cafeteria.
Oh, that is a wild shift.
Yeah.
So a company can just issue a digital meal allowance to their employees.
Yep.
They don't need to maintain a commercial kitchen. They don't need to dedicate a whole floor of their skyscraper to a dining hall. The real estate savings alone must be astronomical.
The savings are enormous. It is a massive architectural and financial shift, but it's cleverly disguised as a simple app feature for busy professionals.
I hadn't even thought about the real estate angle. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And, speaking of outsourcing our daily habits to an app, let's talk about Akly.
Oh yeah, Akly is a great example.
Because this platform is hyper-focused on the health-conscious crowd. Vegans, keto diets, low-carb enthusiasts. But Akly isn't just a delivery mechanism. It actively suggests new meals tailored to your specific biometrics and lifestyle choices.
And that feature represents a brilliant psychological play. Because maintaining a strict dietary regimen, like keto, requires an incredible amount of daily mental energy.
Oh, no.
You're constantly calculating macros, avoiding triggers, reading ingredient lists. By allowing users to strictly define their dietary preferences up front, Akly is allowing the consumer to basically outsource their dietary discipline to an algorithm.
You're outsourcing your willpower.
Exactly.
When you open a normal delivery app, you are just bombarded with images of cheeseburgers and milkshakes, and you have to actively fight the urge to click on them.
Right.
With Akly, you open the app and the temptation doesn't even exist. You only see what aligns with your goals. The algorithm is basically acting as a digital nutritionist holding you accountable.
And that level of personalization creates incredible stickiness for the app. A user might delete a generic food app if they get a bad meal, right? But they won't delete the app that is actively helping them lose weight.
Very true. But what if your primary driver isn't your macro count, but your neighborhood? That is the void Foodak is filling. This is a homegrown platform with an overarching anti-chain philosophy. They deliberately focus on spotlighting over 500 local neighborhood eateries and emerging brands, like the hidden gems of Doha.
They're tapping into the consumer desire for authenticity and community support, which, that often gets lost when you were just scrolling through endless pages of global fast food franchises.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. When you place Deliveroo, Akly, and Foodak side by side, the mystery of this crowded market suddenly vanishes. You realize why the average smartphone in Qatar has 4 or 5 different delivery apps sitting in a folder.
Because the user base isn't a monolith.
Right. A single user isn't just one demographic. You might use Deliveroo for work on a Tuesday to manage a lunch meeting with your department.
Yeah.
Then on Wednesday evening, you use Akly because you are determined to stick to your keto meal plan for the week. But then Friday night rolls around, you want to support a local business, so you open Foodak to hunt down a specific pastry from a mom-and-pop dessert shop in your neighborhood. The consumer has become completely fragmented. You aren't loyal to a single app anymore. You're loyal to the specific micro needs of your given day.
That is a phenomenal observation regarding consumer psychology. The tech companies, however, absolutely hate that fragmentation.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Their entire business model relies on keeping you inside their walled garden. They do not want you opening a competitor's app on Friday, which explains why the true battleground in 2026 is no longer about who has the best restaurant selection.
It's a race to become a super app, the race to deliver absolutely everything.
Exactly. The platforms want to swallow your entire daily routine from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. Because, quite frankly, the profit margins on delivering a single cheeseburger are notoriously terrible.
Let's run through the heavy hitters trying to execute this super app strategy. First up is Rafeeq, a platform that launched in early 2019. They quickly expanded from just restaurant food into groceries, pharmacies, and even flower delivery.
Right.
And they aggressively push recurring revenue with unlimited free delivery through their Rafeeq Pro tier. Then you have Wishbox, operating as this massive multi-vendor hub, leaning hard into cost-effective options and constantly pushing notifications for bundle deals.
And Fingertips is taking it even further. They are openly aspiring to be the ultimate super app. So they handle the standard food and pharmacy runs, but they are rapidly expanding into event ticketing, general lifestyle needs, and offering a robust 24/7 customer support network.
Wow.
Their goal is to essentially become the remote control for your life in Doha.
The remote control for your life. That's intense. But the scale that truly stopped me in my tracks was Baladi Express, another homegrown Qatari platform known for being budget-friendly and offering a staggering 30 to 60-minute delivery window. But their inventory is what blows my mind. They offer over 150,000 items sourced from more than 2,000 different shops.
That logistical footprint is just massive.
It's like having a gigantic physical shopping mall shoved directly into your pocket. You have fresh produce, fashion apparel, electronics, flowers, hardware, all just sitting in a warehouse or partner store waiting to be dispatched in under an hour.
Well, let's talk about the unit economics of why they do this. We mentioned the profit margin on a $10 burger is awful after you pay the driver and the restaurant.
Right.
But if a user opens Baladi Express or Rafeeq and orders that $10 burger plus a $50 pharmacy order and a $30 grocery restock all in the same cart,
Oh, I see.
the platform groups that into a single delivery route. Suddenly, the profit margin on that trip skyrockets. That is why they are so desperate to be the everything app.
Because group trips are where the actual money is made. It makes perfect sense. And yet, despite the absolute dominance of Talabat's cultural hold, Snoonu's premium ethical brand, and the sheer sprawling inventory of Baladi Express, this market is still somehow attracting brand new, highly aggressive players.
The 2025 disruptor, Keeta.
Yes, Keeta. They launched mid-2025, operating across Qatar and Saudi Arabia. And their strategy is a masterclass in the sheer brute force of venture capital.
Yeah, it really is.
They aren't trying to organically win over users. They're basically trying to buy the market outright.
They're utilizing capital as a weapon.
They are offering up to 200 Qatari riyals in new user vouchers, alongside unlimited free delivery. They are throwing cash at the consumer just to get them to download the app.
So let's break down the mechanics of why a company would willingly bleed that much cash.
Please do, because it sounds crazy.
When a market's habits are deeply entrenched, like when the public is literally saying, let's tell about it, a new competitor cannot win by simply having a cleaner user interface or a slightly faster app. The friction of getting a user to switch is too high.
The habit is too strong.
So you have to break the habit artificially. In the venture capital world, this comes down to two metrics: customer acquisition cost, or SAC, and lifetime value, or LTV.
Right.
Keeta knows it might cost them 200 rils to acquire you as a customer. They take a heavy loss on your first 3 orders. But their internal data suggests that if they can force you to use their app 4 times, you will break your old habit and stay with them for years. Over those years, your lifetime value will far exceed that initial 200 real investment. It is a brutal, high-stakes digital land grab where the company with the deepest pockets tries to starve the competitors out of the market.
It's fascinating, but it also sounds exhausting for the companies involved, constantly burning cash, fighting for razor-thin margins on food, dealing with massive logistical fleets. But amidst all this fierce warfare between the apps, there was a tiny detail buried in our research that completely shifted my perspective on who is actually winning in this ecosystem.
The Enatega pitch.
Yes. After breaking down all this cutthroat competition, the research casually suggests that if a restaurant owner is tired of paying high commission fees to these delivery giants, they should just book a demo with a tech company called Enatega to build a custom white label app.
It reveals the meta business operating quietly in the background. It is a perfect modern reflection of gold rush economics.
Selling the digital shovels.
Exactly. During the actual gold rush, the people out panning in the rivers rarely struck it rich. The people who made guaranteed fortunes were the merchants selling the pickaxes, the tents, and the blue jeans. In the 2026 delivery ecosystem, restaurants are fighting for pennies on the dollar, and platforms like Keeta are burning millions in capital just to acquire a user.
But the tech companies building the software, they don't employ a single delivery driver. They don't cook a single meal.
No.
They don't deal with spoiled inventory or traffic accidents. They just build a slick digital interface, license it to a restaurant, and collect a monthly software subscription fee. They're essentially digital landlords collecting tech rent.
They capitalize on the ambition of everyone else while carrying none of the physical risk.
That is the smartest play on the board.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean for the person listening to this deep dive right now? Like, if you live in London or New York or Sydney, why should you care about the nuances of a 10-app ecosystem in Doha?
I think the most crucial takeaway is understanding the limits of global tech monopolies.
Hmm.
There is a fascinating reality about the Qatari landscape that defies Western expectations.
Right, because if you ask the average person in North America or Europe to name a food delivery app, they will instantly say Uber Eats.
Exactly.
Or they might mention Zomato if they're looking at restaurant reviews.
Yet look closely at Qatar's market. Zomato is no longer active in the food delivery space there, despite having run massive, popular programs like Zomato Gold and Doha in the past.
Right?
And Uber Eats, they don't even participate in food delivery in Qatar. Uber's operations are restricted entirely to moving passengers.
The biggest, most well-funded Western tech monopolies on the planet basically got boxed out of the market.
They couldn't compete. This intensely vibrant ecosystem proves that highly localized regional tech platforms can successfully defeat massive global giants. And they do it by understanding the nuances of the environment better than a generic, globally exported algorithm ever could.
It makes sense, really. Uber Eats in London doesn't have to worry about swapping a fleet of bicycles for air-conditioned cars to keep their drivers safe from 45-degree desert heat.
No, they don't.
A global app doesn't inherently understand the need to spotlight hidden neighborhood mom-and-pop shops the way Foodak does.
Right. A global giant tries to impose a one-size-fits-all model. The local players, from the sprawling, budget-friendly inventory of Baladi Express to the premium, ethical care of Snoonu, they won because they built their infrastructure around the actual reality of life in Doha.
They didn't just translate a user interface into Arabic. They customized the physical logistics to match the culture and the climate. That is a masterclass in localized business strategy. And it brings us to the end of our analysis of the ecosystem today. But before we wrap up, we want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to chew on, something that takes everything we've discussed and projects it into the future.
Well, to synthesize the journey we've taken today, we have watched food delivery evolve from a Friday night novelty into a massive, multi-layered utility. We have seen these platforms specialize to manage our complex diets, entirely replace our physical corporate cafeterias, and directly adapt to extreme physical environments.
They're no longer just software on our phones. They are actively interacting with how the physical city functions. Which leads me to this question. If these delivery apps are now so fundamentally vital to our daily survival, our nutritional choices, and the rhythm of our workdays, how long is it until urban real estate developers realize that the way we live has permanently changed?
Oh, that's interesting. Like, how long until architects stop designing modern luxury high-rises or sprawling corporate offices with massive traditional kitchens?
Wow. What replaces them?
Well, if you are outsourcing your cooking, your grocery shopping, your pharmacy runs, and your meal planning to 10 different apps in your pocket, maybe the residential and commercial architecture of the future doesn't need a stove or a massive pantry.
Yeah.
Maybe the focal point of a 2030 apartment is just a highly efficient, climate-controlled, secure delivery reception hub built right into the front door. We are optimizing the kitchens right out of our own blueprints.
It is a staggering architectural implication, and it's driven entirely by a digital habit. The technology hasn't just changed how we eat. It is actively rewriting the floor plans of our future homes.
It is definitely something to think about next time you see those orange bikes zipping through the glowing streets of your city. Thanks for exploring this ecosystem with us. Keep questioning the everyday infrastructure around you, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.